The game reaches a pivotal moment with just 10 seconds left in the period. The Phoenix Suns, under the pressure of time, are playing with urgency. The game has been tight, and the stakes are high as both teams battle for momentum with no fouls to give for Phoenix. The tension in the arena is palpable. The ball is in the hands of Memphis Grizzlies guard Cam Spencer, who has been making an impact on the game. Spencer dribbles to the top of the arc, keeping his eyes fixed on the basket. The clock ticks down, and there's a sense of anticipation. Spencer lines up for a three-point shot, with the ball soaring through the air. The crowd collectively holds its breath. It swishes through the net, a clean shot, and the Grizzlies take a crucial 5-point lead. The Suns are now under more pressure, but Spencer's shot is a reminder that every possession counts. And this one might just be a turning point in the game. The shot is made. But what happens next escalates the tension further as Spencer locks eyes with none other than Kevin Durant, setting the stage for an intense exchange of words. As soon as Spencer sinks the three-pointer, he immediately shifts his focus toward Kevin Durant. Without hesitation, he locks eyes with Durant, an unspoken challenge hanging in the air. This isn't just about the shot anymore, it's about asserting dominance. Durant, who has made a name for himself as one of the most intense competitors in the league, doesn't back down. He responds with a stern glare and words exchanged that carry more weight than the score itself. Spencer's look isn't one of fear, but of confidence, as if he's telling Durant, "I'm here to play." It's a silent declaration of self-assurance, one that Durant clearly takes notice of. Spencer's act of looking directly at Durant after his big shot doesn't go unnoticed by the crowd. As there's a slight shift in the atmosphere, it's as though both players are sizing each other up, and what happens next could define the mood for the rest of the game. This brief but powerful moment encapsulates the mental side of the sport, where physical plays are just one part, but mental battles can change the course of a game. Durant's response is swift and sharp as he turns towards Spencer and begins to bark at Desmond Bane. It's clear that Durant is trying to establish his presence and send a message to the Grizzlies. The words exchanged aren't fully audible, but the intensity of Durant's reaction is undeniable. The competitiveness in Durant's eyes speaks volumes. In this high-stakes environment, every action is magnified, and Durant knows that his leadership on the court goes beyond scoring points. He has to show his team that he's unshaken, even in the face of an emotional challenge. Meanwhile, Bane is caught in the middle of this exchange. His role is to stand up for his teammate, not just physically, but emotionally. The tension is palpable as Durant and Bane share a few words, but it's clear that Bane isn't backing down either. As Durant vents his frustration, Bane steps up as a protector of Spencer, of his team, and of the game's spirit. The competitive heat between the two sides is becoming more evident, and the players are digging in for what could be a series of emotional confrontations. In the next few minutes, Spencer, ever the competitor, doesn't simply walk away from the exchange. Instead, he takes a step forward, putting himself right into the center of the conflict. He's not intimidated. Instead, he takes it upon himself to assert his presence even more by stepping up and saying something to Durant. It's not clear exactly what Spencer says, but his body language suggests he's reminding Durant that he's not just a bystander in this game, he's here to compete. The words exchanged are brief, but their significance is enormous. In basketball, mental toughness is just as important as physical ability, and Spencer's actions are a demonstration of his belief in his own abilities. He's not here to let Durant or anyone else intimidate him. Spencer's message is clear: I belong in this game, and I'm not backing down. The tension continues to build as Durant's frustration bubbles over, but Spencer's confidence stands as a counterpoint to Durant's intensity. The game is no longer just about the score, it's about the players proving something to each other. On a personal level, the announcers provide some context, noting how the dynamics between players have changed over the years. Back in the day, players weren't as friendly with each other as they are now. There was a time when there was little camaraderie between opposing players, when challenges were met with hostility rather than handshake deals. The history of the NBA is filled with players who wouldn't hesitate to challenge each other both on and off the court, and moments like this exchange between Spencer and Durant harken back to that older, more intense rivalry. The announcers reflect on how the current game culture is different, with players more inclined to engage in friendly exchanges, often exchanging jerseys or shaking hands after a tough game. However, moments like these, raw, unfiltered, and emotionally charged, are still a part of the game. They represent the competitive fire that burns inside players like Durant and the desire to assert dominance and respect on the court, especially when the game is tight and every play feels like it could tip the scales. This exchange, though intense, is just part of the larger narrative of competition that drives the game forward. A video review is initiated, creating a brief pause in the action. The referees are tasked with reviewing the incident to determine if there was any malicious intent behind the physicality or words exchanged. The review is meant to ensure that no hostile acts were committed. That could escalate tensions further. As the review unfolds, the camera cuts to the replay center, where officials are analyzing the footage. The commentary team lightens the mood, joking that whatever the review crew wants, it's on Brevin. This playful remark adds a layer of levity to the situation, but the stakes remain high. The game is under scrutiny and every detail matters. During the review, the tension from the earlier exchange lingers in the air. The players are waiting for a ruling, and the emotional energy in the arena is palpable. While the review team sifts through the footage, the crowd and players alike remain on edge, wondering what the final decision will be and how it will affect the flow of the game. Will the tension be resolved, or will it fuel more animosity between the two teams? As the review continues, the announcers provide insight into the exchange between Durant, Spencer, and Bane. They focus on the idea that Spencer's actions, while confrontational, were not excessive or overtly aggressive. It's clear that Spencer was asserting himself, but his words and actions weren't aimed at provoking a larger conflict. The commentators note that Spencer's demeanor didn't indicate a long-term vendetta or an intention to escalate the situation. He made his point, stood his ground, and was ready to move on. Durant's response, however, was a bit more intense, and it's evident that his competitiveness got the best of him in that moment. While the review team evaluates the situation, the focus remains on the emotional undercurrent of the game. What the review shows is that the exchange was indeed passionate, but not beyond the bounds of typical competitive intensity in a heated game. It's a reminder that in the NBA, where tempers can flare, players are often testing each other's resolve, trying to see who will back down first. As the review continues, the camera shifts to Desmond Bane, who plays a critical role in this interaction. Bane is no stranger to physicality on the court, and his reaction to the situation reveals a lot about his character as a teammate. As Durant puts his finger in Spencer's face, Bane steps in quickly to defend his teammate. His actions speak volumes about the kind of player he is, a protector of his teammates, and a player who stands firm when his team is under siege. Bane's role in this moment isn't just about physicality. It's about leadership and ensuring that the emotional tone of the game doesn't get out of hand. He's there to make sure that Durant doesn't cross any lines that would escalate things further. In the heat of the moment, Bane's calm and steady demeanor helps to diffuse the situation. The game continues, but the lesson here is that Bane's presence on the court is not just about scoring points, it's about leadership and emotional intelligence. The announcers continue to reflect on the changing dynamics of the game, noting that moments like these are part of what makes basketball so exciting. The intense energy between Durant and Spencer, the defensive protectiveness from Bane, and the subtle challenges being thrown from one player to another all add up to a game that's about more than just scoring. It's a battle of wills, and every player is pushing each other to the limit, testing boundaries to see who will break first. The game is as much mental as it is physical. Spencer's actions weren't just about proving his skill, but about proving that he belongs in this high-stakes environment. For Durant, the exchange is about asserting his dominance, showing that he's the one in control. The energy shifts as both teams brace for the consequences of this emotional exchange, knowing that the psychological game being played off the court will be just as crucial as the physical one on it. Finally, the emotional charge from the bench is acknowledged by the announcers. The Memphis Grizzlies bench, in particular, has been a source of energy throughout the game, and their role in turning the emotional tide isn't lost on the commentators. It's not just the players on the floor who are making an impact. The bench plays a crucial role in keeping the intensity high, encouraging their teammates, and maintaining the emotional stakes of the game. The actions of Spencer and Bane are a direct reflection of the collective energy from the bench, and their passion fuels the fire of competition. The game has shifted from a mere contest of points to one of psychological warfare. Both teams are now fully aware that this game isn't just about basketball, it's a battle of hearts, minds, and wills. The review is concluded, but the emotional weight of the situation will carry through for the remainder of the game as the players continue to push each other to the brink.